So I will pass the floor to Lenka Procházková. Then we will continue with Emmanuel Garden, who will present Coimbra Group. And then Mr. Stefan Bergmans will talk about EUA, the European University Alliance Association, sorry. And then Aniko Makaj will tell you something about European University Foundation. So Lenka, the floor is yours. And if you have any questions and it cannot wait, you can just ask in the chat. Otherwise, you will have enough time later. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome today in our webinars also from my side. Thank you, Bara, for the introduction. I will just ask at the beginning the basic question if all of you can hear me. Yes, perfect. As it was already said, I am here today to represent you, our Czech License Office for Education and Research. And as it was already said, we are here free today. I'm also thanking to Bara and Denisa that they took care about the organization of the event. I would like to pass to the next slide. So in my presentation, it will be just a few minutes. We will just explain why we decided to organize the webinars, what CZELO office can do for you, and also what is EGLO and ACA, which are those two organizations we are part of it. So when we discuss like the basic question, why we organize the webinars, we understand that when you are mostly in the Czech Republic, it could be quite difficult to understand the environment which is here in Brussels, especially after pandemic of COVID-19, where a lot of conditions have changed, and also a lot of associations and organizations changed, or they decided to move, or maybe there are some brand new organizations here in Brussels. So we believe that to have this update information is quite important for you to maybe understand a little bit more, and also to understand that there are some organizations, even though you may not be directly member of, there are other parts of the Czech National Agency, which can be a member of, for example, EGLO and ACA, which we are part of it. And you can actually be in contact with us as we can represent you there. After this explanation, we believe that we will help you to understand a little bit more the labyrinth which is here in Brussels, and to be expert about those organizations and associations and alliances. And we hope that these 5 webinars will help you actually to get connected, to find your new partners, and maybe also to find a new way how to represent your institution in Brussels. Next slide, please. I will start with Czech License Office. As it was already said, we are part of Czech National Agency of International Education and Research. It's brand new. We are part of DZS only from 2021, but CZELO existed already in Brussels from 2005. Right now, we are actually supported and funded by project for 7 years. And our main aim is to support Czech stakeholders in education and research here in Brussels. And what is quite nice that our services are totally free of charge. So if actually everybody from Czechia or even from some other countries who would like to use our services to get in contact with someone in the Czech Republic can ask for our help without any payments. Those are different types of logos, which you could meet in any conferences or meetings. You can see that we have a lot of varieties of it, and we are proud of it. So when I move to our activities, what is the most important? We are the information hub for Czech stakeholders. So we are trying to gather all those information in the networks. We are in part of it, mostly EGLO and ACA, and of course all those conferences, meetings, cafes, taking part here directly in Brussels, and also through different other links we have to put all those information on our website, which are in Czech and also in English, to use our social media, which you are welcome definitely to follow if you would like to. And also you can subscribe to our newsletter, which is about research and also about education. They are mostly in English, newsletters. Social medias, we of course have also in English. So it's also a link for the partners from foreign countries to get in touch with us. When we move to the other one, what's also quite important, we are quite well known that it's important to have a really great supporting for capacity building of project managers of research institutions and also educational institutions. That's the reason why we are cooperating with V4 license offices, and we organize V4 training usually twice a year, which right now we believe finally will get back to Brussels. So we'll be in presence here, and you will, if you were successful during the registration, you will have the great opportunity to network together with your partners from different countries. Of course, we are also organizing ad hoc trainings with a specific topic. For example, we did a training dedicated to SSH with our partners from the Czech Republic, and we are also allowing different project managers or students to do their professional internships here in CZELO office and to get more in touch with Brussels environment. And other webinars, seminars, what is needed, that's what we do. Also, we are taking part in promotion of Czech research and education in more social event ways. So you can, for example, know our social science cafe and edu cafe. Those social events we organize usually 4 times per year, and usually it represents one great researcher or expert, and they talk about their research or their experience and possibilities. And we are actually bringing Czech researchers to this foreign social event and to represent their research. And of course, we are involved also in partner search, which we believe is like one of the cornerstone how to be more successful in this foreign and Brussels environment. The last one, but not the last important, is actually supporting also all international activities of Czech stakeholders in Brussels. As we know, it's quite difficult to organize anything in Brussels when you are actually sitting in Brno or in Praha. So if anybody of you would need our help, we are here. Just write us an email or call us, and we will help you to organize an event or to organize a meeting here for you in Brussels. And when I move, what is going right now quite hot topic is, of course, Czech presidency, which is right now taking place. Here you can see all the events we planned to do, and we are already organizing during the autumn. So you are definitely welcome to take part or to come or to follow us. And if you would be more interested, just write us and we will tell you more. And we believe that even more events will come. As it was already mentioned, we are part of IGLO and ACA. IGLO is an informal group of licensed offices for research and development offices here in Brussels. It's not possible for any university or research institution to be direct member of IGLO. On the other hand, you can use our services as all licensed offices of member states can be a member of the IGLO. It's a great opportunity for us that we can share a lot of information. We can gain a lot of information as well. There are also working groups, for example, on implementation or innovation or widening, in which we are gathering information and actually giving to you back how it works in different member states. And it's also a great network to use to find partners for your consortium if you would like to take part or if you are looking for anybody to be in consortium with you. There are also the website. So if you are more interested in which license offices are part of IGLO, you are definitely welcome to browse the website. And also in the other slides which are following, we made a map for you so you can see all those license offices which are part of IGLO. And I also mentioned ACA. It's the other part. As you know, Czech license office is not only a license office for research, but also for education. So ACA represents the other side we are doing here in CZELO. And ACA is Academic Cooperation Association. It's not possible for university to be part of ACA. On the other hand, again, it's possible to be member when you are a national level organization. It means that DZS, which is Czech National Agency, is part of ACA. And again, we are using this great opportunity as there is a network of 19 members in Europe and also 3 associated members. It's a great place where we can exchange of good practice and we can discuss the internationalization of higher education, and we can also develop more partner search and more partnerships here in ACA. So if you are interested in ACA, definitely let us know. We would be more than happy actually to share more information with you. And of course, the team is not only me and Vara and Denisa, but we are 6 of us. So when we will share a presentation with you, you can write us an email, or there is a link to our contacts and also agenda, so you can find out who is responsible for the specific topic you might be interested in. Right now, I would just thank you for that you listened to me, and I would just like to give floor to Emanuela, if I'm not mistaken. And if you would have any questions about CZELO, so write in the chat or just at the end of the webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Rolenka, for presenting CZELO office and our activities and what we can offer to you here in Brussels. And now, as it was mentioned earlier, it's time for a presentation of Coimbra Group, and we are happy to have with us today Mrs. Emmanuelle Garden, who is the office director at Coimbra Group Universities. So thank you, Emmanuelle. You can start.
Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you very much, Linka and Baram. As I told you when you invited us, I was really delighted because as much as we talk a lot about the Brussels bubble, when we think about the European institutions, it's true that there's also the bubble of the research and innovation stakeholders, and it's really useful, I think, to have such webinars. Thank you, Denisa Albara. Could you please then go on the next slide? Yeah, so I'll be very happy to share the experience from the Coimbra Group and show you how by getting a member or engaging with university networks, you can become more visible in Brussels. So let me first tell you in a few words who we are. Coimbra Group is one of the oldest university associations, was founded in 1985 before the launch of the Erasmus program. It's an association that gathers long-established European universities, so usually the oldest one in their respective countries. They're all multidisciplinary, research-intensive universities. And this is why I put already a first tip, which is when you want to become more visible and find the network you want to get into, try to find like-minded partners. Our association is a club somehow of universities with the same profile that have established long-standing links over the past 30 years, with 3 main objectives: to create a special academic and cultural ties among the members, so develop cooperation. Second one, which is to influence European education and research policy. And the third one, to develop best practice throughout this exchange of experience. So the next slide shows you in one schema what we are doing. We are fostering cooperation, and we are monitoring and influencing European policies on 4 main lines, which are internationalization of universities, academic collaboration, excellence in education and research, and service to society. We represent 40 universities from 22 countries. Maybe one thing that will surprise you is that all Erasmus mobilities happening across Europe either take place from or to Coimbra Group University in 16% of all these mobilities. So we're quite a strong voice on this program. Then we also represent 10.5% of all ERC grants awarded since the launch of the very first program in FP7. So I would say that be part of a network in Brussels means being part of a critical mass. You will represent, along with the other members of the association you belong to, a critical voice. Next one. So you will see that we have one member from Czech Republic, which is Charles University, and they joined the network in 1991, so quite at the beginning of the network. And you can see here that we are covering Europe from north to south, from Aarhus to Istanbul, and from east to west, from Galway in Ireland to Prague or to Krakow. Our members are also strongly involved in the European University Alliances. More than 85% of our members are involved, and you can see that as a network, we are also associated partner to 5 alliances of European universities. And I'm sure that you are familiar with this initiative. So Prague, Charles University in Prague is a member of 4EU+, and you can see here all our members dispatched in the different alliances. Next one. Another important tip I wanted to share when you join a university network is not to remain as a passive member, let's say. So here you have a picture of our governance. We are run by an executive board, which is made of 10 people who are usually vice rectors in their respective institutions. And there is also a rectors advisory group made up of 6 rectors who meet 2-3 times a year with the executive board. And in color here, you can see that we have in our executive board one representative from Charles University, Professor Lenka Rovna, who is the coordinator of the European University Alliance in her university. She's sitting at the highest level of the university. And in our rectors advisory group, we also have the rector from Charles University. So this is the third tip, which is engage actively, try to engage in the elections to have an active role in the organization, because then you can have also more influence on shaping the agendas and policy priorities of your of the association. Next slide. Another way to engage in our specific organization are the working groups. So the cooperation mainly takes place across 12 thematic working groups, and you can see here the diversity of topics that are addressed. And here again, all our working groups are chaired by an academic or an administrative staff from one of our 40-member universities. The chairs are elected by their peers. And we also have a vice chair. And here I have also highlighted in color that Charles University is very active, because they are assuming the vice chairmanship of the Equality Diversity Working Group with Professor Vera Sokolova. The working groups in Coimbra Group, they are communities of practitioners that develop a wide diversity of activities. They can be publications, they can be summer schools, they can be projects, and it's really what we call our bottom-up cooperation. They are defining themselves their own priorities and adopting 3-year work plans. So the fourth tip is engage in the network by exchanging with your peers, where in this type of bodies, you can find solutions when you face issues in your day-to-day work, but you can also initiate new collaboration, new projects. Next slide. About influencing European policy. So here I've displayed the priorities adopted by our executive board. So these are the top-down priorities, which complement the bottom-up priorities adopted by our working groups. And you can see that advocacy is one of the main priority, in particular on European research area. So the past year, we've worked actively with Stefan, also from the European University Association, and all our colleagues in the other networks to advocate for an active role of stakeholders in the European research area policy dialogue with the Commission and the Member States. We are very active in advocating for long-term funding for the European strategy for the European alliances. We have been involved since the start of the initiative. We were consulted on the European strategy for universities, and we traditionally advocate for stronger synergies in European policy, but also in European funding programs between higher education research and innovation. And you have other lines of priorities from the Coimbra Group, which was for the past year about supporting our members in managing the COVID-19 crisis. We did surveys and reports. We have a range of activities on engagement with society, and we were also very vocal on, we are still very vocal on the continuation of student mobility and research cooperation post-Brexit. So the fifth step is when you are part of such a network, you can really contribute to shape the EU agenda in your sector. And you will see on the next slide concrete examples of how we are involved in this policy co-development, I would say. The Commission has EU higher education stakeholder group, and which has had several names over history, and Coimbra Group has always been part of this stakeholder group. We participated over the past semester in the EU core group for the drafting of an agreement on reforming research assessment, and we are involved now in the next stage. As I was commenting, we have closely cooperated with all other European university associations in shaping the governance of the European research area. We also consulted by the Commission on the implementation, on the shaping of the European research area policy agenda. So and being engaged in such a network is also an opportunity to connect, of course, with the European institutions, but also to connect with the other research and innovation stakeholders. We have regular meetings with the other associations here in Brussels, and this is something you can't get if you are not a member of a network. Then I wanted also to highlight what we do in terms of cooperation, because obviously we are a membership-based organization. We already have a Czech member university, and we have this criteria about being a long-standing university in your own country, and multidisciplinary and research incentive, etc. So it might not be easy to fit and become a member of our association any soon, I would say. And we also our membership process is upon invitation from existing members. However, everything, many things that we do are just open to other colleagues from the higher education sector. So here you have an idea of what we do to enhance cooperation between our members, but also to showcase best practice from our members. We'll soon have a public seminar on the future of European City Campus. We'll have another one on the innovative learning spaces, and the next month on the built heritage of universities. So being part of a network, whichever it is also an excellent opportunity to showcase the best practice of your institution. And here you can see forthcoming activities. And I will not develop more, so you can go on the next slide. You can see the diversity of topics we are mentioning. And the last thing I wanted to mention is being part of a European network helps you bridge with the EU institutions and be visible in Brussels, but it also, in our case at least, help you increase your visibility internationally speaking. So in our case, we also have a scholarship program, which consists of short-term research stay in Coimbra Group universities. We offer about 90 scholarships every year. So this is also a way to have, for our members, to have a visibility on the other continents. Thank you very much. You will see on the next slide that hope will be distributed. You can subscribe to a monthly newsletter. We have also the social networks accounts, and I'll be pleased to answer any questions now or any time later by email. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for this very comprehensive presentation and also practical tips, almost a step-by-step manual how to be more visible here in Brussels. So thank you very much. I would like to open the floor for the questions now, since Emmanuel has to leave earlier. So if you have any question, just raise your hand or turn on your mic and ask. And if there is no question so far, I would like to ask my question. As I understood, you are a membership organization that and the new members can be only invited. It's not like possible to just apply, but you also mentioned that you have some opportunities for non-members. So maybe if you can tell us more about that, like how can Czech universities that are not part of Coimbra Group, how can they enjoy your activities, events, and stuff like that? Thank you.
Yeah, well, the best way is really to subscribe to the newsletter to get aware of all the opportunities. There are regular call for papers, for instance, that are issued by the working groups. There was one recently on Latin America, so very specific. There is one actually on this build heritage seminar. So there are call for papers, which are open to usually to any scholars. There are conferences or seminars that usually, some of them are closed to members, but usually the high level one, most important ones are usually open also to anyone. And now in the post-COVID world, well, usually there are hybrid participation. I think it's easier for Czech higher education institutions to participate. So this is mainly how you can connect, participating to events or to publications.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So is there any question from the audience? If not, then I would like to thank you once again for joining us today, and I wish you a nice afternoon. And yeah, thank you very much. And now I will pass the floor to Stefan, who is the director of the Research and Innovation Unit of the European University Association. So Stefan, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And do you want me to share my slides or do you want to show my slides?
Up to you.
Okay, I'll
Whatever
share.
you prefer.
I'll just go ahead. Good. Well, thank you very much. And thanks for the opportunity. Great to have a, there you go. I'm going to make that bigger.
It's
There you
perfect.
go. Perfect. Excellent. Thank you very much. So thanks a lot for the opportunity. As Emmanuel was saying, I mean, it's always great to have the chance to leave the Brussels bubble and get to talk to people who are actually on the ground and in touch with reality. So what I want to do today is present to you the European University Association, so you know who we are and you can contact us when and if you need. The title here, as you can see, is We Are the Voice of European Universities. And the reason I say this is simply, oh yes, sorry. So I will tell you who we are. I'll tell you a little bit about how we work. I'll give you two examples of things that we do that probably are relevant for you. And then I'll finish with how to engage. But again, the voice of European universities. Well, the reason is Emmanuel was telling you how they are a club. Well, we're not a club. We are actually a trade association. We represent all universities, or at least as many as possible. So you can see that our membership is up to, in January, 859 members, and that is in 49 countries. So it's well beyond the EU. You can see here in light blue, all those are the countries where the National Rectors Conferences are also members of EUA. So you can see that we have this dual membership where we have universities themselves. And for example, if I look at the Czech Republic, you see 22 members there. Well, one is actually the Czech Rectors Conference. The other ones are university. So that's about probably half of the universities that are in the National Rectors Conference. So feel free to go and check our website to see if your university is part actually of EUA. It's easy enough to become a member, and you don't have to be invited. Everybody can apply. Very quickly, our vision at EUA is to have strong universities for Europe, and therefore, obviously, our mission is to support our members to excel in the service of society. Of course, our values are very important, and that they are the same as the ones in universities: academic freedom, institutional autonomy, but well beyond that. You can see freedom of speech. I don't have the time to go into everything. the way we work and our goal is to have effective advocacy in order to have impact actually on the policies that are being developed and that could be impacting our members. And our aim, of course, is to influence those policies so that our members, the universities, are successful. What we do also is we identify the opportunities and the threats that are appearing, and again, those are specifically aimed at our members. What we also work closely and for is with our members. We try to be responsive and hear what the needs of our members at universities are. And this in light of solidarity across Europe between universities, but also to work together in collective actions. And of course, that is linked with the understanding the practices. So for example, we do a lot of surveys, something that many of other university associations are not capable of doing at the length of what we're doing. Concretely, what our main objective? Well, we want to facilitate dialogues between higher education, on higher education and research, because we want to represent the interest of higher education sector in Brussels and beyond. So what we ensure is that the voice of universities is heard. And again, this is at the EU policy making level, and this is within the European higher education area. The other thing we do, besides the advocacy, is certainly providing support to our members. So this is a range of services. I don't have the time to go into that, but there's strategy development. We do peer groups, focus groups. We, of course, have events, with the big one being usually in April, the annual conference of the EUA, and we have many types of publications that we publish, policy input, etc. The main activities we have, and I'll start at the bottom because it's really focusing on the members. So it's the membership activities. Here we do events. I mentioned the annual conference. There are webinars, but there's many other types of events. We run projects. We have focus groups. We have peer groups. And here it's really to allow members to share the good practice between themselves, but also with us at EUA, so that we can gather actually evidence. And that evidence is very important for us to be able to do policy development and research. So that's what you see here on the top right. That allows us, through consultation, for example, to develop recommendations, reports, policy position, so that we can influence European policies. And again, for the benefit of university sector. And you see then the third, which is a stakeholder dialogue and advocacy. Of course, we as EUA are engaged and allow our members to be engaged with the European institutions, with your other European associations, with the national organizations, etc. So that's really a full circle of what we do. And when Emmanuel was mentioning that we interact, yes, of course, we are on a regular dialogue with other university associations. The one example I'll give you later is on ERA. So one of the very specific things we do as EU is collect evidence. We have such a broad membership that we're able to do surveys. For example, we did one on big deals, for example, when it comes to publishing, and we'll be repeating that. But two of the flagships we have is the Public Funding Observatory. So looking at how universities are being funded, or for example, the Autonomy Scorecard also, that my colleague right across the desk here is overseeing. That is all taking place at a system level. So we're talking national rectors conferences who are asked questions, but we also ask questions and do surveys with institutions themselves. So we recently did a survey on innovation at universities, or a survey on open science at universities. We have a big trend survey that we're going to repeat very soon. And this is really asking directly the questions to the universities so that they can answer the survey. And we gather in general 200, 300, 400 responses from universities, which means we have a meaningful and significant sample that we can use to develop our recommendations, our policy strategy, and go and influence the European Commission, Parliament, etc. We also do direct exchange with our members, the universities. This is, as I mentioned before, through peer learning and focus group. We've had one recently on research assessment, for example, a topic that's highly discussed, but we have that regularly with learning and teaching, on leadership, etc. And of course, we have one dedicated service that's called the Council for Doctoral Education, EUA CDE. We do also thematic platform. where we discuss the latest trends. So for example, if I focus just on my field, research and innovation, we've got 3 expert groups, working groups. One is called the Research and Innovation Strategy Group, looking at strategy for R&I. We've got 2 expert groups, one on open science and one on innovation. And here we're talking about members representing the National Rectors Conference, but coming from universities. And on all those 3 groups, for example, we've got a representative from the Czech Republic. So that's important to note. And of course, here you see the names of other. As I mentioned, very important for networking, but also for learning on the latest trends, the EUA annual conference. The next one will be in April next year and will take place in Gdansk in Poland. I told you that I would give you 2 examples of the work we do, just to become a bit more concrete. Emmanuel, right before me, had mentioned the European Research Area. The era for EUA has been a long investment. We've been involved since 2012. And with the new era emerging since 2020, we published a position back in March. We published another position specifically on ERA in October, and then we had a full policy input in December. All the links are in the presentation, and you will have access to that afterwards. Today, what do? Well, we coordinate the university sector. As Emmanuel was mentioning, she is part of a group of universities that EUA is coordinating. We're talking about 11 university associations, and we work together to represent the sector within the ERA Forum for Transition. We as EUA are currently the ones representing university sector. There's 1 seat there, and we are the one doing that. That's where we can do advocacy on ERA actions, and we've done that. The next step now is implementation of the ERA policy agenda. 14, maybe 15 actions have been chosen by the member states and stakeholders, and we're going to start working on that. So that's concretely what we do as EUA. And to be able to do that, we consult with our membership, we consult with our expert groups, we consult with the national rectors conferences. A second example is actually one of the actions of ERA. It's action number 3 on the reform of research assessment. Here again, historically, EU has been involved and has done a lot of work on its own, but also, for example, with Science Europe, with whom we did a statement to improve scholarly research assessment methodologies back in 2019. Just last year, we published a case study on academic career assessment with DORA, as well as with Spark Europe. So today, what do? Well, we are in a small group with the Commission, with Science Europe, who are the association of the funders in Europe. And the 3 of us have actually drafted an agreement. We haven't done that on our own. We've done that with a core group of 20 other organizations that represent the research community. And this agreement is an agreement on how to go about to reform research assessment. Now, our next goal is to actually create a coalition to implement this agreement. And this will be through a joint ownership. So it's really a stakeholder, a community-driven initiative that's been facilitated by EUA, by Science Europe, and by the European Commission, but it is to become to really reform research assessment. So that agreement is available. And you're more than welcome to go and check that out. I just want to mention that, as I said, the agreement is available, but we are consulting our members about this, but we are also providing information. We are offering a workshop series to explain what the reform is about. The 3rd workshop is coming on the 25th of October, and we offer this to the EUA members, but exceptionally, because this is so important, it is open to all universities who are also members of the National Rectors Conference. We've also offered to the National Rectors Conference in the Czech Republic to organize a national workshop on this important reform, and they haven't come back to us, but we hope to organize a national national workshop very soon on the reform of research assessment. So with that, I'll finish with 1 slide, how to stay in touch and be informed. Well, visit our EUA website, of course. As Emmanuel mentioned also for Coimbra, you can register for a newsletter. You can find out if you're a member or not. Feel free to contact me if you want to find out how to become a member if you're not. And of course, you can interact with us online, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. You can attend our events there, for most of them open, so conference, workshops, etc. And of course, as she mentioned, we also looking for contribution to specific projects. And there too, you can find more information in the newsletter. So with that, I'll stop and I'll thank you very much for your attention, and I'll take any question if any. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stefan, for your presentation. And it was very detailed. And also, thank you for these practical examples. I think they showed very well how you can actually, as EUA, influence the European policy in research and innovation. And I can see one question already, so I will pass the floor to Denisa Mancheva.
Hello, Stefan. Thanks a lot for this presentation. So my question is not really about the EUA itself, but we know that EUA is really active also in Horizon Europe. And now that you are part of implementing consortium of Marie Curie for Ukraine, and the call that should be launched in September 2022. So I just wanted to ask if you can elaborate a little bit on this, like what will be the requirements for applications, and when should we expect more information on this? If you can
Very
comment
good.
on this.
I cannot because I'm not in charge within EUA.
Okay.
But if you contact me, send me an email, I'll be more than happy to put you in contact with my colleague. So I'm from the Research Innovation Unit. It is the higher education policy unit that takes care of that. So I'll be more than happy to put you in contact with them. I'm not even going to take a chance to say something wrong. So I'd rather direct you to them right away. Yeah, I forgot to mention, we are based in Brussels, of course. We've got also an office in Geneva for the CDE, but in Brussels we're about 40 staff. So of course we split the work. I don't do everything. I only focus on R&I. Sorry about not being able to answer your question there.
Fully understood. Thanks a lot. Anyway.
Okay. Do we have any other question from the audience now? No, so maybe from my side, you represent so many universities, so many voices in one comprehensive voice. So can you maybe tell us what can individuals from faculties, like either academic or administrative staff, how they can be more proactive within the network, and how can they fully enjoy the membership of their organization? Or if it's more on a rectors or high level level, or if they can really be more active on this even faculties and chairs and so on.
They can. They can. For example, it's pretty clear that we are targeting very often the leadership of universities, but a lot of the activities we do, be it through the publication, but also through the events. And I'm thinking, for example, the whole series of workshops we're doing right now on the reform of research assessment is not just targeting the leadership. It is actually to provide information to our members, but all staff in the membership. So those activities are completely open to everyone. And I think that with the COVID, we had already quite a lot of online activities, but it has gone even beyond now. And I think this is a great opportunity for even more staff within universities to be able to have access to all this information. So again, all that is all in the newsletter or on our website. You will see, all the different activities that are coming up, and all those are often, or are not often, are actually open to our membership.
Okay, thank you very much. So if there is no question right now, you will also have a chance to ask after the last speaker, who is Mrs. Aniko Makej-Kovács, and she's the Senior Policy and Research Officer in the European University Foundation. So Aniko, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for the opportunity for being here and have the chance to share our activities and profile with the Czech institutions. So I will try and attempt sharing my screen, and please, Bara, help me out if this works how it should work.
Not yet.
And now I was clicking up. And now?
Yes, now it's
Oh,
perfect.
excellent. I'm very glad I could do it. So first of all, just a little introduction about myself, because until 2.5 years ago, I was also working at a university back in Budapest in Hungary, and I was the head of the international office there. So I assume that many of you here also works in a similar position at the international office or research or education office at a university. So I myself really know the difference between when you are working at a university that has not too many membership or network with other university alliances, and working at a university which has a lot of this connection and dedicates the capacity and the energy to nurture these partnerships. So they are gaining, certain information in time already in the early hours by the time of the announcement of the certain project or any possibilities. So there is a difference, and I personally really recommend you to really follow with the activities of the CZELO office that you are very lucky that you are having in Brussels, and also the other associations or organizations that are being present at this very good event, which is, I think, an excellent idea. And I think all of you is very, very lucky that the CZELO office is organizing for you such an overview of all of the organizations that are available on this field in Brussels. I very much applaud this idea. So a little bit about my organization, which is European University Foundation. We are a little bit smaller than the European University Association, so more closely to the Coimbra network. So a little bit about the foundation itself. We are also working, of course, on the modernization of the European higher education area. We are advocating for, of course, the quality mobility, for policy innovation, for active citizenship, employability, and the digitalization in the higher education. The network has a very rich history of promoting policy reform and contributing to the further development, mainly of the Erasmus Plus program. Some facts and figures about the university, so this about the association. So this is a younger association. We were founded in 1999 by and during the German presidency. And this association is in Luxembourg. We currently have 19 full members, so this is a quite small association. And despite of that, we are currently running 16 EU-funded projects, but we have also 56 associate members, which means that they are the member universities, but having less rights when it comes for voting, for example. We are currently operating with a 3.7 million euro fund that are basically coming from the projects that we are working with, and I'm going to show to you later on. The 19 full members and the 56 associate members are coming from 29 countries. So basically, we are mapping also the entire European higher education area. And we have 4 offices. The headquarters is in Luxembourg. And we have the office here in Brussels, where I work myself. And we have also 2 branch offices in Budapest, in Hungary, and in Barcelona, in Spain. And we have 2 Czech member universities. One is Charles University. They are the full members. And the other one is Mendel University in Brno. They are associate members. Then let me introduce you our steering committee, which is also very interesting for you because one of the steering committee member is coming in this year from Charles University, Professor Marketa Krizova. and of course also from University of Porto, and in this year from the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki. So the steering committee is basically the decision-making board of the foundation, and they are saying the final yes or no for any questions with regards to budgeting or policy or anything else. What are our main activities? So we are trying to support, sorry about the ambulance car. We are trying to support our member universities throughout a knowledge exchange community, which basically aims to discuss topics that will support the member university staff of gaining first-hand information about projects or skills development. We had sessions in this year on the micro-credentials. We frequently are having, of course, sessions on digitalization. We had a session on green topics related to student mobility or academic exchange-focused sessions. Also, we are strongly supporting our members in project initiation. So not only to find the partner, but also to try and find the topic that is a common struggle between the universities. For this, we are yearly organizing the so-called Open Space, which is an event where we gather together and try to brainstorm what are the pain points, the main topics that we are all struggling together, and then we are trying to work out together a solution for that. And then the EUF takes the role of trying to find a fund for those projects. Speaking of this, we are also doing a lot of network activities online and hopefully from now on offline as well. And we have several working groups and task forces that are basically working on the topics that are brought up by the member universities. So this is also a flexible part of our operation. Also, we work based on these gained information on policy innovation. We have the Erasmus Plus project manager and advisory community. And via this, we basically provide direct access to policy making. And here I'm talking about, for example, the example of digitalization, where the project that I'm going to just very briefly show to you, the Erasmus Without Paper, where the European University Foundation was a key project partner, I'm sure you all know, became one of the main and most important part of today's mobility management area. So this is about the main activities. And what I wanted to show to you are the projects that we are currently working at. So you can see here that we are operating on tangible outputs. So we try to make sure that throughout the projects, we exactly support the member universities and therefore actually the entire European higher education area, that they have the tool or the guideline that they need exactly for their everyday operation. And we always try to do forward-looking projects that make sense and really useful for the member universities. Here, I'm going to highlight a few of these projects. First is the EDSSI, which stands for European Digital Student Service Infrastructure. This project was responsible during the 1.5 years to make sure that the different initiatives for the digitalization of the Erasmus program, such as the online learning agreement or the Erasmus dashboard, or for authentication, the My Academic ID and the European Student Identifier, are basically able to work together, because before of this project, they were individual silos. And this project was aiming to bring all of these together plus bring on the board the student service providers that are in many cases have no access to the Erasmus students body. So there are very good services at the university, but then the exchange student basically cannot get the information about the services because they are either not translated to English or they are not accessible for the Erasmus coordinator that is working with the students at the host university. The other project I wanted to highlight to you is the home, which obviously targets the question of the accommodation of the students. Here comes once again our modus operandi that says we need to find solutions for the actual problems of the universities. So Home Project is working on creating an application where the students are going to be able to find trustworthy accommodation for their mobility period at the host university. The Green Erasmus is, of course, trying to tackle the green travel opportunities of the Erasmus students and the Erasmus mobility. So one more look at the current project, and I'm also going to introduce you very briefly some of the past projects that truly shaped the current landscape of the European higher education area. So, for example, the Erasmus app that you might already know and many of you already used, because it is on one hand a very useful application for the students to have a step-by-step guideline throughout their entire mobility period for Erasmus study mobility, but also for any Erasmus coordinator or international coordinator that would like to put information into the Erasmus app for either outgoing or incoming students. You can do that, and you can put your useful information or links or whatever to make it available for incoming or outgoing students. The other one is My Academic ID. My Academic ID is basically the project behind the European Student Identifier that I am sure that many of you already deployed, as this is going to become the main identifier for any student that will take part in Erasmus mobility programs. So this was the project behind it originally, and then actually the EDSSI project that I just mentioned earlier that was further developing and making sure that all of the European institutions that are having Erasmus Charter are having this information and able to deploy the European Student Identifier for their students, therefore making them available, enabling them to be able to take part in the Erasmus program digital tools. And a little trick with my slides, interesting, okay. And then the Erasmus Without Paper program, I'm sure that all of you is aware of the fact that it is now part of the Erasmus Charter, that you need to develop your system compatible with the Erasmus Without Paper principles. And originally, the European University Foundation was one of the key members of the project that developed this system. And the last one here is the Online Learning Agreement project that created one of the first online templates for the learning agreement document that is the key document for student mobility. And one tip here that I wanted to mention in light of the upcoming EAI conference, but also for other references, is the Aquatic project, which is basically developed a tool for any higher education institution that is having an Erasmus program to evaluate your Erasmus partnerships. So this program will ask for your data from the mobility tool, and then it will analyze it for you and show you how active the certain university partnerships of yours, or how many students or academic staff you exchanged throughout the last 7 years, I find it a very, very useful tool for evaluating partnerships and going with these statistics, for example, to the EAI conference or any other partner meeting that you are having with your international partners. Some of our main events and resources. So, of course, we are organizing a lot of networking events, especially online, also trainings, basically following up on the tools or guidelines that we are developing in our projects. I already mentioned to you the open space. The Erasmus Goes Digital webinars, I'm sure many of you attended in one or two already. And on our website, you will find all of our project outputs. We also operating the EUF knowledge base or the EWP competence center, where we are sharing all of the information that we have about digitalization or how to use the online learning agreement or the Erasmus dashboard and etc. And we also have their tools and best practices collection. And here I really wanted to invite you, because my colleague that is working on the so-called ESWA project is organizing a demo day on the 20th of September in Brno, so that might be close to you. And this event is going to be very interesting to learn more about electronic signatures and find out how the ESWA works and how it fits into the EWP, Erasmus Digital Paper ecosystem. And you will get a step-by-step demonstration on how to use this ESWA module for your daily operation. You will be able to ask questions directly from the developers and meet colleagues from other European universities. So if you are interested in the application of e-signature into the entire EWP system, feel free and subscribe. So maybe you only have to take the car to go to Brno for this international event. A little bit about our work in Brussels. I can only second what has been already said about the importance of keeping track and being active and make sure to be here. So this is the first photo is a little bit about our staff. You can see that we are currently a young staff, I would say, just based on the faces, and it's a young and dynamic group. And this is where our office is situated in Brussels. So you are also, of course, all invited to drop by at any time if you happen to be in Brussels. And this is our members wall, where we put on the core members logos to display it for any visitors. And I think that the most important is, once again, to be aware and make sure that you follow us on any of the social medias or on our bi-monthly newsletter. I think we are going to distribute the slides, so you will be able to subscribe directly from the link that I added here. Because we are basically distributing all of our events and updates in this newsletter that may be very useful for you, especially if you are working with the Erasmus Plus program, with the digitalization of that, but also if you are interested in any other aspects of quality mobility. So that is from my side, and I'm open for any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anniko, for your presentation. It was very detailed, and also I appreciate that you showed us concrete examples of your projects, that we could see that what are your successes of your projects and what you actually consulted. And also thank you for inviting us, or the participants, to your Brussels office, as well as to this Brno event, which is going to be very soon. And now, please, if you have any questions, anybody, feel free to ask. And if not, then I would like to ask you about the membership. Is it, are you open to new members? Because we are happy that the Czech Republic is represented in your network, but also can more universities step in?
Absolutely, it is It is basically initiated via a letter of interest. So feel free to go ahead. We are not in an active recruitment phase at this moment. However, there are always possibilities.
Okay, thank you for this answer. So, is there any question? I don't see any. Or comment maybe. Okay, so if not, we can slowly start. Yeah. Okay, there's no question. So I would like to thank you once again to all our speakers, Aniko, Emmanuel, and Stefan. It was a really great pleasure to have you here today with us, and it was great to hear about your activities and what you can offer to the Czech audience. And also thank you, all of you from Czech universities, research centers, and other institutions that you decided to join us today. And I hope this was useful for you. And if sorry, and if yes, and you are interested to hear more, we have a good news for you because we continue this Thursday and you can still register to our next webinar, and you can hear about Jeroen, about European Association of SSH, and also about Steffi. So these are the three next networks, associations that will present themselves on Thursday. So if you want to, you are invited to register yourself. So thank you very much once again, and have a nice afternoon, and hopefully see you all soon.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.